Aaron Judge is not there.
I've never impressed with
No. Oh, they'll burn out. They'll burn out. They're the best team that you got. Yeah, right.
Poor Mets, the guy owned him was. That's why they couldn't spend any money for so frustrated.
Yeah, that really tied their hands. That really tied their hands for years. But I think he was kind of, there was that rumor, but I think he was hiding that was the reality. You can't operate in a big market like that. Even the middle market kind of stable veterans teams, they don't win, they're just perennial contenders. You know, Oakland never won. They just, the Twins never won. They just kind of scoot along.
They win the division.
Yeah. And then nothing. Remember the Braves in, 92, 93, perennial Cowboys.
Hello.
Yeah, right, you can buy tickets. That's the shame. Look, I always say about the big market teams like the Yankees, you can buy 70 talent players, you can't buy chemistry. And you saw that with the Yankees, those first couple of years that Rodriguez was there, and it uprooted everything, and is he gonna play shortstop, or is Peter gonna stay shortstop? Yeah, he got one ring, but he never saw what he should have, and that just goes to the pieces, you cannot buy chemistry. Right, and all of those guys, when they were so good, Pettit and Posada and Jeter and Mariano Rivera, all came from the farm system. I mean, a friend of mine from undergrad lived in Rochester. He goes to the Rochester Red Wings as well as the affiliate. And he saw those guys play back then in the late 80s.
Call this meeting to order. Those in attendance, please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all of our friends and neighbors and colleagues for joining us in this regularly scheduled May 2nd, 2022 City Council meeting. As you come in tonight, which would be to my right, to your left, there's a desk right on that table. If you're a guest with us tonight, will you please sign in? I'd also like to remind council that our esteemed clerk has an election to administer tomorrow, so we should be wary of the amount of time Katie's going to have to put in tonight. And I'm not telling anybody they can't speak or anything, but let's not drag this out and let's be courteous to our clerk. So. May I please have a roll call vote?
Sure. Councilperson Soha?
Present.
Councilperson Reiner? Beer?
Here.
Morrissey?
Here.
Sharp?
Here.
Stuchel?
Here.
Pratt? Here. Sizer?
Here.
Mayor Stockford?
Here.
8-0, 1 absent.
Thank you, Katie. Councilman Reiner's not going to be with us tonight. He sent me an email, so he is occupied. We'll move into approval of agenda. City Manager, any member of councils have any changes to make to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Beer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We've got an agenda. Move into public comment on agenda items only. During this time, the podium will be open. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please limit your trips to 1 to the podium. And please ensure, if you're speaking during this particular public comment period, that it has a direct tie to something present on the agenda tonight. The podium's now open.
Mr. Mayor, Dennis asked that this be presented.
What's that?
Dennis asked for this to be presented.
Well, it's not on the agenda. Just given to me?
Well, for council to.
Okay, well, it's not on the agenda, and we've passed that moment. So during council comment, I'll address it. How's that sound? Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Any public comment?
Well, this to do with the agenda or just public comment?
This is public comment for agenda items only.
Okay, that's probably me. Yeah, Mindy Meyer, I'm here, actually regarding a response to last month's, meeting when it was regarding the Hope House on the corner down there. I'm just kind of coming back with my response because I really didn't say much that night. So my response on that is, I live next door, to be honest, and so I kind of have had a full grasp of their occupancy there and stuff. And actually, before the last meeting, I was informed by the owner that, you know, I should have proof if I was gonna say anything. So I did put up cameras, and I do have proof of most anything I'm gonna say tonight. And it's just, there's such an occupancy there. And even in the last 2 weeks, they're throwing frisbees on the sidewalks, in the street, in the parking lots. One even hit one of my cameras and knocked it out. And their hygiene's probably, I mean, they're fine on that, but they're spitting into the curb and into the trash can of the stuff. And it's not against the people or the program or anything like that, but there's no way this cannot be affecting businesses in the downtown area. And they're smoking out front, so first thing in the morning, 7, you know, if my windows were open, it's been cold, so they haven't been. Smoke's coming in. It's just something that you would think there would be a bigger picture on this. And I would be here even if it wasn't the Hope House. If it was an apartment complex that they were doing the same stuff on the sidewalks, I would definitely be here in the same situation. There's just, I do have videos, being I was forewarned that I should have proof. So if you would like to have those videos, I would be of some of the instances. And to give you a gist of, it's like 8 people on the sidewalk, but it takes up a bit of the sidewalk. This morning, there was a lady that was coming and they didn't move. And they moved for a lot of the other people too. But yeah, I just think we need a little bit more consideration, even if they went across to where the gazebo is versus just landing on that front parking lot. And it actually back by the trash cans too. They would come look in my back office windows when they were pacing and stuff until I finally told them. I don't see any action out of the Hope House unless something is prompted to make them do action. And even the people that are staffing it, when they're throwing frisbees in the street and on the sidewalk and stuff, there's no response. They're just standing there watching it all happen. So I just think, you know, we just need at least some rules and regulations in the least bit. So that's my statement, and if you would like to have any of the videos or something, you know, you just properly get it from me, and I'd be happy to share it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. Any more public comment?
Penny Swan, Ward 4. I just want to speak on the Patillo abatement. I'm all for it. It's great to have new businesses coming in, and they can pour more money into the community, all the better, and everybody else gets tax abatement, so I think we should grant this. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Any more public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the podium and move to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we've got approval of bills, city and BPU claims of April 14th, payroll of April 14th, city council minutes of April 18th, that would be our last meeting, election commission minutes of April 20th, planning commission minutes of March 16th, Hillsdale College alley closure for the blue and white event, and Hillsdale College senior class use agreement ratification of signatures. Any discussions on any of the items in the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Beer. May I please have a roll call, City Clerk?
Councilperson Beer,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Stucho,
Yes.
Pratt, Sizer,
Yes.
Mayor Stockford,
Yes.
Councilperson Soha.
Yes.
All approved.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move on to communications petitions, and just give me one moment to get there in my packet. Apologize. First item is the library grant report. Exciting news for the Hillsdale Community Library. We have recently received 6 grants. Wow. And these include a 3D printer with filament, button maker, Kiva planks, building kit, snap circuit experiment lab, Vex Go classroom robotics kit, and a Circut Explorer 3. I don't know what any of those things are, but wonderful. And I would encourage you guys to read the information about the grant. It's wonderful. Item B is the 2022 library newsletter. More great news from our library. Sounds like great stuff happened over there since we got the new director.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's thank her. Item C is the summer newsletter for the city. Lots of great stuff on this. It's got the Dawn Theater opening in it. It's got our water system projects. Good stuff. And then item D is a letter from Mr. Jansen, also regarding the Hope House. Any discussion on any of these items? Did you want to cover your letter?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll read the first part of the letter. Honorable Mayor Stockford and esteemed council persons. I write this letter in reference to the controversy concerning individuals in the Hope House program and their presence in public standing on the sidewalk for all to see. A member of the council stated that they need to earn the trust of the community again, paraphrase. I believe that most, if not all, the council members claim to be Christians. This begs the question, do you act like Christians? Do you do what Jesus would do? Peter, Christ's chosen leader, denied knowing Christ 3 times, Matthew 26 and 31 through 75. Did Jesus say to Peter after the resurrection, Peter, you were my chosen leader of the church and you denied me for others? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. How can I trust you again? No, Jesus accepted Peter as he was, with full knowledge that Peter would betray him later. In Matthew 16:18, Jesus says to Peter, and I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. Now, Jesus did not associate with the Pharisees or the Sanhedrin, which is the Jewish council, but with beggars, adulterers, the sick, and the poor. Let us remember how Jesus felt about those who have needs. Matthew 25:37 to 45. And then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me. Then he shall also say to those on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. Go on, I'm not going to read the letter for the next one. The whole question is, Christian or not? From previous comments at other meetings, these people have been stereotyped. Oh, they're substance abusers. I know there may be substance abusers on the council who are in recovery. Maybe not. The whole thing is, we hear that people are afraid of them. We hear about the grandmother who went, oh my God, I can't go to the market on Saturdays with my grandchild. Something may happen to them. Who owns the problem? the persons with the misconception, with a false idea that these people are dangerous, you have to look at who owns that problem. It's the ones with the misconceptions, not these people. And to put them in, to say, oh, you know what, put them in another neighborhood, not downtown, they don't belong downtown. They're just human beings. In fact, we should cherish them, the fact that they are in a program. They're no longer at home with their family, with their friends. They're in a program to get better. So, and I just ask you to take a look at your own convictions. And those who claim to be Christians, are you walking the way Jesus walked? Would any of you invite them to dinner at your house? Thank you.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate you coming tonight. Hold on one second, Councilman Stuchel. I feel like we're really getting off track and this is getting very counterproductive regarding the Hope House. I don't think, and I feel like this is the last time I'm going to say this, I don't think anybody on council has said anything bad about the people at the Hope House or treated them as lesser than people. The whole issue the entire time has been that this is a commercial district down here for businesses, and it's being disrupted because we're looking for retail business down there. So I appreciate what you're saying, Ted. I'm 100% sympathetic to substance abuse issues. I will say here tonight, I've had them myself. It's been a while, but I have had them myself. I'm not ashamed of it. I turned my life around 20 years ago, and I'm sympathetic to these gentlemen. But I feel like this idea that anybody that speaks out against the location of the Hope House is a total straw man argument to say you don't support people getting second chances, or you don't. So we're just going over this every single council meeting. Nobody's trying to kick the Hope House out, but I get a lot of complaints from business owners down there, and I get a lot of complaints from residents too. So I support their mission, and at the same time recognize that it's been a disruption to have that down there. Councilman Stuchel.
Well, I'm going to add to that because this letter was nothing short of complete nonsense. Mr. Jansen does not have the slightest clue the depth of any member's faith on this council, not a clue. And the backhanded statements about council is just disgusting, just disgusting. Mr. Jansen's rush towards his self-righteousness, he has completely missed the point that the mayor has made. This council is talking about economic development. We're talking about surrounding businesses. We're talking about this, we're living the growth of downtown. There has been an increase in boldness of public comments of the integrity of this council. Not a single council member that I know of have ever said they were a saint. We are people debating and discussing public views, public policies, what is right, what is just, what we feel is fair. People are free to criticize those. You're more than free to come up and criticize any policy that we come up with. But nobody has the right or the moral high ground to judge us. And this has to stop, because every meeting we have people come here and berate us for people trying to do our job. Nobody has the right to do that. You do not have the moral high ground. It needs to stop.
Thank you, Councilman Stuchel. Any more council discussion? It really isn't about morality. It isn't. It's when you
compare us to Pharisees of Christ who crucified
No,
Christ.
no. I mean,
come on.
I mean, what we
Matthew 7:3. Please read it when you get home.
I mean, when we discuss up here about the Hope House,
Oh, right.
what
It's
should
not. It's
when
about business.
when you have business owners and residents that come to you, what are we supposed to do as council members?
That's right.
Get used to it. There's nothing we can do about it. You're a bad person. I'm not going to do that to people, and I'm not going to point at the Hope House and say you're a bad people.
Nobody's ever said that in this council. It's about business economic development downtown. That's what it's about, and that deters the growth. It deters businesses around that area. That's what it does. It's just not the place to put it. No one's against the Hope House. It just needs to belong someplace else other than downtown Hillsdale. Like I said earlier, you don't put your shower in your dining room.
Any more discussion on this item? We'll move on to introduction and adoption of ordinances, public hearing. First public hearing we have tonight is commercial rehabilitation exemption for the Patillo family. Clerk's office is in receipt of an application for commercial rehabilitation exemption certificate for property located at 3240 West Carlton Road, owned by Patillo Family Properties. We've got Mr. Patillo with us tonight. The application is for tax abatement on the rehabilitation on the stadium roller rink buildings. Ironically enough, Doug's with us tonight. The property was originally developed for a roller skating rink and snack bar. The project has an estimated cost of $608,010 to rehab the building for a family activity center. Property in question lies within the Commercial Rehabilitation District Number 1, created in 2009 and amended in 2019. Maximum length of time for exemption under Public Act 210 of 2005 is 10 years. Therefore, the EDC board and staff recommends the CRE application be approved for 10 years, with the certificate to expire December 30th, 2032. Any discussion on this item? I'll open the podium for public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please limit your trips to one to the podium. Obviously, you can only speak during this time on the commercial rehabilitation exemption certificate. Podium's open. We'll close the podium. Mr. Patillo, do you have anything to add? No. Nope. Can you give us a hint on what you're gonna do with the building? No? Now, this is just, don't do it if you're not comfortable with it. I'm not trying to force you to, this is just curiosity.
Public record.
Yeah?
Yeah, it'll be a family activity center. Just a different version of what it was. So we're trying to create a space that will serve the young family, or just families in Hillsdale, through different activities. So I'll just leave it at that.
That sounds awesome. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Stutzel. Did anybody have anything else to add? Councilman Beard?
I was just gonna comment that the fact of the over $500,000 put into an existing property to bring it up to more standards, make it more conducive for business in the area, give families something, so I will totally support it.
Thank you, Tony. Anybody else? Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Stutzel to approve the certificate. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Patillo. We'll move on in the packet to, oh, excuse me. I'm going to close the podium, and we're gonna end that public hearing, and we'll move on to the next public hearing, which is for a community block development grant application. Dave, can you take this one?
I'm gonna have Kristen come up and speak to it. It is a water and sewer grant application that we've been working on.
Yep, I mean, we talked about it at the last meeting, right?
Yeah, as Dave said, this is a water and sewer grant ask, and the public hearing is part of the requirements of the grant. We're asking for $2 million, and the total project cost is just shy of $2.7 million. And what we intend to do with that money is replace 75 water valves within the water system, and they're either currently failing, not working, or leaking. So we need to replace those so that when we have breaks, we can confine the area with which we have to deal when we're dealing with water main breaks. And really the more expensive side of this is dealing with about 1 mile of sanitary sewer that's in advanced deterioration stages that needs to either be lined with new sewer liners and or open cut and replaced. So any combination of lining and open cutting is what we're planning to do and what the estimates are based on.
Any questions for Kristen? Thank you, Kristen. Now we're gonna open the podium. Please limit your trips to one at the podium. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And if you're gonna, and please understand, the only thing you can speak on at this time is this particular item, community development block grant. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll close the podium. Any discussion at the council table? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you again, Kristen. And we will close that public hearing. There's no old business, so we'll move into new business. Item A, domestic harmony contract. Do we have anybody from domestic harmony with us tonight?
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Hannah Jordan. This is the third time I've come to speak with you, which is a pretty similar city council. So I'm just going to give you some stats of the last year, and this time I want to go into a little further look at what we do at Domestic Harmony. For the past several years, you've agreed to a purchase service agreement for the residents of the city of Hillsdale. And for the individuals that we service, I want you to be able to know what we kind of help with. So last year, well, this is our 42nd year of services in Hillsdale County. Last year, we provided shelter for 26 adults and 18 children. Our staff and volunteers took 587 crisis and information calls, and we helped 134 adults with supportive counseling, and our legal advocate assisted with 62 personal protection orders. So I'm just kind of going to walk you through what it's like and what our advocacy helps with. So when someone calls our crisis line, which is 24/7, and they're approved for shelter, oftentimes they come in with nothing. They may have fled urgently, maybe in the night, maybe during the day, but there's sometimes nothing they come with. We provide them, obviously, with the shelter and the bed, but we also provide their family with clothes. They have access to a kitchen, food. We give them, like if they come in with kids, we always offer them their toys, but also, maybe something to have along with them. So we might offer, we give them a little bag of toys, teddy bear, and things like that. Each person is assigned a case manager when they come in, and this person is one advocate that's directly available to them to help them with gaining their independence. So we help them with applying for housing, knocking down any of the barriers that might be in place to gain independent housing. So housing, a job, we work with them about budget education. A lot of times part of domestic violence is financial abuse, and sometimes they haven't had access to their finances in the household. So this is the first time that they might be, and if they've gotten a job, that they're having income. This is not always the case, but often. So we work with them about doing credit checks, budgeting their money, how is it going to be when they're out on their own to keep their apartment, and things like that. Last year we received a grant that helped 6 different families with housing. It paid for their first and second month's rent, and the startup costs with utilities. With our prevention education program, we go into local schools, and I just want to give you the statistics of what is happening inside Hillsdale High School. From the students that took the survey, 36% of them have said that they've witnessed domestic violence in their families. 50% of them have witnessed teen dating violence, and 26% of them have reported that they are victims of teen dating violence. And with our legal advocacy program, we assist people who are seeking a personal protection order. We help them fill out paperwork. We advocate on the court if needed. we worked with the sheriff's department this year, and when you get a personal protection order, you have to serve it to the other person. That usually costs, and it's another barrier to their safety. We worked with the sheriff this year, and he has waived cost for that serving to happen, so that if there was a personal protection order approved, it is free to the victim to have it done, and the sheriff's department will serve it within, if it's within the county. So that's just a quick overview and kind of a little deeper look of what we do at Domestic Harmony, but we are still a 501c3 in good standing. Our funding sources are from local government contracts, fundraising, and state grants. And I'm asking you tonight to vote in favor of a $6,000 service contract with Domestic Harmony, and we appreciate you listening to me and protecting or supporting a place to protect your residents. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Hannah. Any questions for Hannah?
I would like to thank her for being good neighbors in our community. And they need support as well, and they show what a good neighbor looks like.
Good point, Councilman Stuchel.
Let me ask, how long can someone stay with you once they come in your door?
Yes, that's a great
What is your goal?
So there is no hard date that they have to. It really depends on their goals they've set and their progress. So if somebody comes in and is looking for housing, it takes a while to get housing in this area. The first week they can put their application in, and we might not hear for 2 months whether they got it on, or where they line up on the wait list in the apartment. So as long as they are working towards their goals, they can stay for as long as they need. On average, I'd say it's around 60 days that it usually pans out to be. 60 to 90 is where I'd say it's well. Shorter and longer stays have happened, but as long as they are actively working towards their goals, we will let them stay.
How many guests can you accommodate at one time?
Sure. We have 6 bedrooms and 11 beds. Those are 11 permanent beds. We also have alternative options, so if we were full, we can make some makeshift arrangements to make sure that something's safe.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
Again, any questions for her? Councilman Horsey?
I just have a question for our attorney. We've been doing this for 19 years, and so I assume that it's legal for us to make a donation to Domestic Harmony. But a resident contacted me questioning whether it was, so I need your opinion on it.
Actually, it would not be legal for you to make a donation.
Yeah,
What
we're
you can do
contracted.
is purchase a contract. You can pay, you can give public funds to a private organization if they are using those funds to provide a service that the municipality could otherwise provide to its residents. So that's what you're doing, is you're
Thank you.
purchasing that service.
Very good. It was our own representative, Eric Lloyd Hoyser, our former representative, who advocated for the law that really cemented municipalities contracting with 501c3s like Domestic Harmony. And for the public's knowledge, the way the contract works is, as Hannah already said, if a police officer picks up a battered woman, what are we supposed to do in that situation? We take them to jail or drop them off on a street corner. So we have a safe haven to take them. So it is and the Chief Hepner has been up here a dozen times and has said every single time, this program is a great benefit to the city of Hillsdale. It provides us with a service that had we not had, otherwise we'd be in big trouble. So there was certainly a time I was a little squicky about the way that we did this, but the more years go by, the more I learn about the program, and the more I learn about how we benefit from it, the more in support I am of it. So, hold on, Councilman Beer had a question or comment.
Actually, you kind of covered it. It was more of a public safety and helping out our police to give a nice, safe spot to take battered persons.
Yes, absolutely. Councilman Sharp?
You already know how I feel,
I do.
and I take meat up to them, but I get extra from Clemens, which I've got some more hams for you guys. But it's a service we wish we never had to have, but this is the real world, it really is. And, I wish we didn't have to have it, but we do. And there's no question, I support it, I've taken some council members out there and had them take a tour of it. And one of the members of the family, there's one family we see, normal people, normal kids, you wouldn't know it, and they felt safe. Before that, you don't know what they went through, but that one boy, he said hello, he felt very safe being there. And that's what you're providing them, a safe haven, to get their life back together. And that's why I will continue to support you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Pratt?
And you do provide housing for men too, correct?
Yep, so our criteria is in intimate partner violence, so we don't discriminate on that.
I volunteered there when I was in college.
Oh, that's great.
Good question, Councilwoman Pratt, because I didn't even know that myself, so.
I didn't see some of the women around this county.
Oh. I'm more aware than I'm gonna say right now, Bruce. Any more discussion? Somebody wanna make a motion?
So moved.
Second. For the dollar amount of being.
6,000.
6,000.
The contract.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that was it.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Beer, seconded by Councilman Morrissey, to contract another year with Domestic Harmony in the amount of $6,000. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Morrissey?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
Stuchel?
Yes.
Pratt?
Yes.
Sizer?
Yes.
Mayor Stockford?
Yes.
Councilperson Soha?
Yes.
And Beer.
Yes.
All approved.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Councilman.
Thank you, Hannah. We'll move on to item B, MDOT contract 22-0623, airport terminal study. Dave.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know we've talked about this a couple times, but the Hillsdale Municipal Airport has received 100% funding for a new terminal study. The study will identify the appropriate size, location, and needs for a new terminal for its construction. The city has submitted a grant application to the FAA for funding to construct the new terminal, and the study is the first step in that process for approval. If approved, construction on the terminal can start next spring. The attached contract 22-0623 is for the terminal study funding, and then there are 3 additional certifications that we need to sign for MDOT's files. So we ask that the council approve the contract, the associated documents, and approve myself and the city clerk to sign on behalf of the city. If there are any questions?
Thank you, Dave. Councilman Soha.
Mr. Mackey, is that, am I correct in understanding this is fully funded by the FAA, or is the city?
This is fully funded. The cost is $30,273, and it's actually in there that it's in the contract that it's fully funded. Page 4 of the contract, which is 202 on the council packet, says the federal share is the complete amount.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Any more questions for Dave? Are you excited about this, Dave?
Well, this is the next project on our 10-year airport improvement plan, and getting 100% funding would be good for the community.
It would be. I'm not opposed to a new terminal, especially with 100% funding. And I've had a lot of questions about whether or not we need one, and that is up for debate, but have you guys?
Well, look at it, it's a gateway to Hillsdale for certain people.
I was just gonna say, have you looked to see about buying a house in Hillsdale right now?
Yes, I have.
Huh?
It's pretty packed.
It is, and houses are going for very expensive, downtown buildings are going for very expensive, and there's something in the air here, and this town's about ready to blow up, I'm telling you.
In a good
It
way.
is, in a good way.
Yeah.
Of course. Mr. Patilla knows it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you for your investment. That's
Yeah, Hillsdale, we got bright years ahead of us. This is a good
The
thing.
airports are getting, it's a front door.
Yep, exactly.
Motion?
Sure.
Time? I move to support or adopt this. Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Stuchel to, contract for the airport terminal study. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Sharp,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Sizer,
Yes.
Mayor Stockford,
Yes.
Councilperson Soha,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
and Morrissey.
Yes.
8-0 approved. And that's resolution 3496.
3496?
Correct.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, we'll move on to item C, MDOT designation of street administrator. It's another resolution. Dave?
Yep, so with the change in staffing here at the city, our DPS director is normally the street administrator. That was Jay Campbell, until his appointment to the electric department superintendent. Jason Blake has been appointed the DPS director, and so this authorization allows him to sign documents on behalf of the city.
Oh, this is awesome. Jason, you wanna come to the podium real quick? Hello,
Hello, Mayor. City Manager, Council.
this is Jason Blake. Do you guys have any questions? Well,
I would grill.
probably most of us know him in some way. I actually went to school with Jason, so good guy.
Thank you.
Definitely earned this position.
Thank you,
Proud
Mayor.
of you.
Appreciate that.
Any questions for Jason?
Would you remind us how long you've been serving the city?
So I came to the city in 2007. I started full-time. I was here a couple years as a seasonal before that. So I have about 15 years in at the end of this year.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And you worked under Roger Payne, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, actually, I still talk to him frequently.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Great guy.
great guy.
Great guy. And you worked under Keith Richards?
I did. Yep, I learned a lot of stuff from him as well.
Absolutely.
So all good experiences through my tenure so far.
Awesome. Any other questions for Jason? I just wanted to bring you up and say congratulations, Jason. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Mayor.
I know you're
Appreciate
gonna
it.
do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Council.
All right, do I have a motion to designate Jason Blake street administrator?
So moved.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you again, Jason. All right, we'll move into item D, Neighborhood Enterprise Zone Exemption Certificate Application. Wow, that's a mouthful. 11 Foxtel Lane. The clerk received an application for a Neighborhood Enterprise Zone New Facility Tax Exemption Certificate from Mr. Kevin Scripter on April 18th, 2022 for 10 years. The property is located in the Three Meadows subdivision. The estimated cost for the new house is $311,640 with plans to complete the project in 12 months. So that's already a neighborhood enterprise zone out there. So all we do is we have to give them a certificate, and there's no reason that we shouldn't do it because that's part of the deal.
Yep.
Any questions? Give it a go. Do I have a motion to?
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Sharp, seconded by Councilman Soha to award a Neighborhood Enterprise Zone New Facility Tax Exemption Certificate to Mr. Kevin Scripter. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move on to item E, New Year's Eve event. Oh, this is exciting. Kelly's not here. Dave, you wanna?
So, part of our funding for the New Year's Eve event that we work on with the Elks, as well as other organizations, is applying for a grant with the Hillsdale County Community Foundation. As part of that application, they want to require board approval prior to submitting the application for the grant. So that's what this item is basically the council's approval to move forward with applying for the $10,000 grant from the Community Foundation to put forth the New Year's Eve event. There's additional funding, as it says, the budget's $15,000 for this event, and it's been definitely well attended and increasing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we appreciate our community partners that help with this, like the Elks.
For sure, for sure. I went last year, and it was at the Elks last year. The 2 previous times, it was in the parking lot, and then it was at the fairgrounds. But Kelly LaPresto was out there all night, the chief was out there all night, and it really was a lovely family event. Any idea why we're ending it so early in the evening?
Because what they've found, and their kind of their committee has decided, they're doing it earlier in the day so that the families have the opportunity then to go home with their families and watch the dropping of the balls and that type of stuff. They found that most people left prior to the midnight time frame. So by changing the time, they felt they had better participation.
That's what I figured. I know this event very much becomes more of a family event every year, I notice, for the small kids, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, the Elks does events inside and provides different things in there, food-wise and other things. As was indicated, you know, they've had carriage rides, they have had a big slide, they've had a skating rink, face painting, character drawings, and all kinds of different fun events for families, so.
Wonderful. All right, any discussion on this item? Can I have a motion to approve the event and apply for the grant? Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, we'll get to our last item of new business, item F. Transportation Economic Development Fund Grant Application Submittal. Jason. Kristen and Jason. Sorry, Kristen, I'm trying to get him some practice.
Oh, no, that's fine. This grant, not like the other grant, doesn't require a specific resolution, but part of our financial policy has been changed to where we need support from council and knowledge of council that we are submitting this grant. So at the end of this week, this grant from the Transportation Economic Development Fund is required to submit, and it's for urban roadways within rural counties, of which Hillsdale is one. It's not for everybody in the state of Michigan. So we have in the last 2 years applied for grant funds for Arch Avenue. We haven't been successful in the past 2 years. Hopefully we will be this year. It's a $400,000 project. We're able to receive 80% of that in grant funds, up to $375,000, but we don't quite meet that threshold. So we're asking for $324,000 in grant funds, coupled with special assessment districts and city funds in the tune of $81,000. So we should know whether we receive this grant in December of this year, and this would be a 2024 construction project.
Okay, awesome. Kristen, you're just kicking butt on this stuff. You guys remember 2 years ago before we had Kristen, do you remember seeing much of this stuff? We had some of it, but just uncovering everything. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
Any questions?
Arch is behind.
Arch is in the industrial park.
Oh, the industrial park.
It's actually, it intersects Uran Street, which we're doing this year.
Okay.
Arch and Uran come together between Mechanic and M90.
Another advance for Ward 2.
Well, this grant is very specific. We have to apply for federal aid eligible roads, and it has to be roads that have high amounts of commercial traffic. Obviously, in the industrial park, that applies. So it kind of lends itself to downtown areas and that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, I can't make a good case for a lot of commercial vehicles on some of the roads here that don't need more advanced construction.
Councilman Beer.
Kristen, how's this gonna, okay, because we're gonna redo the street on your end, is that the same section you're talking?
Well, Arch and.
No, I understand that, but it says Arch and Uran for the sewer on this thing that's not, you figure in 2024, and we're redoing that Uran Street from Arch to.
Oh, there's yeah, we'll just have to go around the corner a little bit to pick up where we put the new storm sewer. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The storm sewer runs in the ditch line on the west side of.
So it's more the Arch section?
Yeah, it's all on Arch.
I got you,
Yeah.
okay.
We're just, right now, we're replacing a culvert, so unfortunately, if we were to get this, we'd take that new culvert out, but this would be better for the whole area, but, you know, I don't know if we'll get funded.
Okay, yep.
Any more questions for Kristen? Entertain a motion to approve, submitting the grant.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Stuchel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We've got one in miscellaneous reports, and that is a proclamation for Municipal Clerks Week. And this is for Katie. Whereas the office of municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Adam L. Stockford, Mayor of the City of Hillsdale, do recognize the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2022 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Katie Price, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. And I would like to add Michelle Loren into that too, since Michelle is not technically, but basically deputy clerk and does so much for us. So thank you, Katie, and thank you, Michelle, dated the 2nd day of May, 2022. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll move into general public comment. During this time, the podium will be open. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please limit your trips to 1 to the podium. During this time, you can speak on anything your heart desires. Podium is now open. It's after general public comment.
Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead with the paper I gave you.
Okay,
No,
I was gonna do it during council comment.
I am not, well, you can still do that too.
Okay, well, I don't need to now, I guess.
No.
The only reason I didn't add it, we had already approved the agenda.
I know I was running late getting here, you know, without being able to drive, sometimes that happens with me.
Sure.
Okay, what it is, this Thursday is the National Day of Prayer throughout the United States here. The group, Hillsdale Area Ministerial Associations, we've been putting this on for several years. And, well, it's gonna be at noon in front of the courthouse. If the weather is bad, we will end up going to the House of Refuge for the services there. Last year we had misty cold weather, but we had it outside. And but this year we're planning on, if everything goes right, we'll have a good turnout. One thing I would like especially for the council and Police Chief Hepner, he would, you know, we invite all the police officers, all the EMS, all the fire department, and we ask them to come so we can pray with them as well. It's open to the public, and it's open to all groups that believe in the Lord. So we're gonna hold it at that point. But we invite each and every one of you as well. And that'll be this Thursday at 12 noon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Any more public comment?
I just wanted to give kudos to your new library director. I met with her recently and was very impressed with what she has going on with the library and what she's adding to the community as a resource to another nonprofit in the community. and what she's doing. I think she started a Facebook page, and she's just being very vocal, and I think that's a great asset to the city, and I just wanted to give her kudos to you guys.
Thank you, Hannah. Any more public comment?
Yeah, in reference to Mr. Stuchel's comment about high moral realm, I'm a sinner, no doubt about it. I'm no better than any of you. If I was still a Catholic and had dial up prayer, it'd be an auto dial on my phone. I just want to make that known, that we all should act like Jesus, regardless of who we are and who we're dealing with. But that being said, you did make a comment, Mr. Mayor, about downtowns for retail. I believe the college bought current office solutions for a call center. Now, I wouldn't exactly call that retail, it's more commercial, but be that as it may. In Ukraine, we got a horrible war going on. Putin's guys, people believing that they're fighting the Nazis. A bunch of misinformation. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation in this world. We got those who think the world's flat. We kind of laugh at them. We got those who are preppers for the Walking Dead. They're coming back. Or Bigfoot. We kind of laugh at them because we know that's not true. Yet, the most recent survey from University of Massachusetts, April 21, a year after the insurrection, only 28% of Republicans believe that Joe Biden was legitimately the president. 60 odd court cases, multiple audits, even the ninja audit in Arizona show that Trump actually had less votes. Yet there's still that belief, that this false belief that Donald Trump won the election. And it's unfortunate that our Republican Party has descended into that, where with the different laws being passed about elections and all that, they're shooting for a one-party system down the line. It'd be the end of democracy. I just hope that those who still believe that Trump won recognize the fact that he didn't and just accept it. Let's move on and be one for the country first, not the party first. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Any more public comment?
Jack McLean. I think that's great that you guys are buying a contract with Domestic Harmony. I'm a little confused about the artwork in Stocks Park, which I think is great artwork, but the ultimate domestic assault is murder. So we have a statute of someone that murdered their spouse in one of our city parks. It's no different than the Southern slavery type things. I mean, they're tearing all those statutes down in the South. What is the difference? I mean, the person was found guilty by a jury of her peers. You know, I don't understand it. I think in a way I do, but in a way I don't. I mean, how can you salute or make a special thing for a person that domestically murdered their spouse? It doesn't make sense to me anyhow. I don't think you guys have said anything bad about anybody. I do think in a public meeting, a city public meeting, that a person that's there that is speaking should not be told to shut up. Nobody wants to hear what they got to say. That was done by a council member. I don't think it was right. People should respect their elders, and that didn't happen as far as I'm concerned. If you don't want to hear the truth or someone's opinion, then you shouldn't be in the position you're in. And I feel the majority of you want to hear that, to represent the people of your areas or whatever. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I would say, since we're talking about domestic harmony and what Jack brought up, I do believe, as the legend goes, Winona was a victim of domestic abuse herself, wasn't she?
I agree with that. I do agree with that, but
She,
can get-
yeah. So, you know, hey, no, Jack, I'm talking,
Okay,
you're not at the podium anymore, okay?
I don't sit down yet.
Oh my gosh, Jack, come on. All right, any more public comment?
This may get fairly short, I'm sorry, we can't hear off your speaker, and
You're fine, Bob.
I'm hoping that'll get better. It's Councilman Soto, is that correct? I don't know how to pronounce it, I apologize. So, thank you. So, apologize. Honestly, I listened to every word you had to say when we were condemning the one officer, Mr. Sims. And so I listened to everything, and it doesn't, you know, outlook of the whole police force. And I wasn't looking for that as well, but I'm sure your point got across to a few more people as well. But let's just say, for the pay of it, I had a run-in, and that run-in was a very simple. I didn't like the ticket writing that was going on. Not that I was being written, but someone else was. And I simply made a statement to that effect. I mean, look at all this ticket writing, the money that comes in. It's tax time. People are not gonna miss it. And so I kind of made that comment. I was told as an ass for even making a remark like that. I said, wait, how many times do we sit here and watch the cars going by, and how many tickets do we see? An awful lot is accounted for. So for him, I'm just gonna set it aside. I just don't want to be around the guy. That's my part. Taxes are gonna hit us hard. We all know this. And please be conscious of the, what's gonna happen to us. Anything that's coming into play, such as the county, with this ARPA monies and all the things being brought up. There's an awful lot of money out there that's just being, as Brad Benzing said, we got bucket loads. We can throw it anywhere we want. And I don't think he's meaning that. I think he's meaning we have enough to sponsor and get the things we want. But it's, raising caution. We're spending and we're taking. And I don't think we should, take this ARPA money. I think it needs to be set aside. And we don't see the foreseeable future. But anyway, with the taxes and the taxation, if it comes any stronger, I just hope that you all will, consider the residents that you're talking about here in the city, and be careful. And thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Bob. Any more public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the podium. Moving to the city manager's report. David.
Just a few comments, Mayor. Last Thursday, the 28th, we did have our work session on the budget. Went over well. Got a lot of information out. Karen from Woodhill Group was here, as well as a member of the public, and Chief Hepner, and then council members. So went over well, but we do have our public hearing on the budget coming up at the next meeting, I believe, right, Katie? Is that the 16th?
Yeah.
16th, yeah. So we do have that public hearing, and that the actual budget will be discussed then. As was mentioned, Jason Blake is now the DPS director, and Jay Campbell is the electric superintendent. So we've been transitioning them over this, starting last week into this week. Chris is here to the end of the week on the electric side, so him and Jacob have been working very closely together. Feel good that those are gonna be good long-term moves for the city. Also at the next meeting, we will have a purchase agreement coming forward with Dr. Herbner, who owns the lot there at the corner of South Howell and Maury Street, where we'll be putting the stormwater detention basin for that intersection as part of a road project. So just wanted to kind of give you a heads up that will be coming to the next meeting as well. And then lastly, as I've seen some questions about this, Katie gave me this information today on the absentee voter ballots. The city clerk's office sent out 881 applications for them. They issued actually 371 ballots, and they've received back for tomorrow's election already 311 ballots, which is probably more than we normally would receive in just a vote if they had to come to vote. So the AAV ballots and sending those applications out are getting our vote count higher to get a better representation of the vote. So just wanted to let you know that. That's all I have, Mayor, unless there's any questions from council.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions for City Manager Mackey? Thank you, Dave. We'll move into council comment. Just wanted to say, last meeting, we requested that, that Sergeant Patrick Flynn get a certificate of appreciation for all of his years service at the fire department, so I wanted to show you guys that. Thank you.
Mediterranean cruise right now, so.
Well, good for him. We can give it to him when he gets back. Also, Dennis mentioned the National Day of Prayer, so, and, what's that? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, make sure it gets posted.
Yeah, Dave's gonna put that and make sure it gets on the city webpage. So, all right, any council comment? Councilman Soha?
Matt, thanks for investing in the city. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to what you accomplished there. Dennis, thanks for doing the National Day of Prayer. It's necessary and important and vital, and I appreciate that very much.
It's not just me, it's all the area.
Well, thank them on my behalf, please. I did want to just say one quick thing to the Hope House. Again, reiterate, I appreciate the mayor's comments and Greg's comments very much. I just want to remind, we're not against the mission of the Hope House. We're not against the men there. We applaud them for their effort to return and be productive members of the community. The location of the Hope House is wrong. It's in the wrong location. You can't argue the fact. And the people who pull on the heartstrings, what did you call it, Mayor? Straw man argument. You conflate Christian charity and personal philanthropy with public policy. And it's our duty here to ensure that the entire community is secure in their person and effects. And it's our duty here to make sure that grandmothers can feel safe and secure walking their grandchildren downtown to get ice cream, candy, coffee, or go to the farmer's market, which is opening this week or this Saturday. And that's our responsibility here. And unfortunately, the appearance of those men, the situation that they found themselves in is not one that helps enhance that appearance downtown. And I found them a place to move, which they said from the podium, the woman running it said she would move if I found them a place to move. I'd have to listen to the language exactly and revisit the video. When I called her and told her I found her a place to move, she adamantly refused to do so. There's not, we can't do things ex post facto, right? We can't force them out. We don't want to force them out. That's not our agenda. I would hope the owner of the building and the lady running the ministry or the organization would have the decency to be good neighbors and find an alternative location. Bottom line is, many of our neighbors do not feel safe in their person and effect with the Hope House and the location it is. And it's our expectation and hope that that will change quickly. And as far as the special elections are concerned, I appreciate you taking city resources to post that. I did get a comment that they would have appreciated if you had posted directly to the city's page, but it's a countywide election, so I understand that. I'm generally opposed to special elections, but not generally. I am opposed to special elections. I think, again, it's a way to get in where unsuspecting citizenry, most people don't participate in the springtime, and then we get taxes. And as I understand, there was a special election 2 or 3 years ago, and they upped the millage then, the ISD did, and now they're doing it again. And they always paint it fluffy and they make it feel good with what they're going to accomplish. But as I understand the last time, what they were going to accomplish, they changed direction after the millage passed, and then they still kept the money. So I am opposed to this ISD millage. I wanted to make that a public statement. I will vote no tomorrow, and I encourage the rest of our community and our county to do the same.
Thank you, Robert. And you're right, regarding the Hope House. You can simultaneously be supportive of their mission and say it's in the wrong location. And that doesn't mean you wanna see it fail, and it doesn't mean that you wanna see people on drugs, or that you wanna see people not getting help.
To the contrary, I want these men to become productive members of society.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, mental health, if somebody has an issue with drug abuse, that's not a council issue, but when business owners come to council members, that becomes a council issue. So ultimately, we deal with what our constituents.
May I add?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I also was reminded tonight when Mindy was speaking, and I thank you for that. I thought that the Hope House men had agreed to not congregate on the sidewalk.
I believe at one meeting, the past couple meetings, that the owner of the property, Mr. Lashaway, was here and said that he was building a deck for them. So he's not.
I just seem to remember, and they had been doing that for a while, and I know it still affects you, Mindy. I'm sorry for that, but when they were going around back, I mean, that sure would go a long way, and as long as they didn't catcall the people going into the hunt club, or stop traffic going into the parking lots there. I mean, there's so many things. Also, may you speak to this, maybe, Tom? Do we have an ordinance against spitting on the sidewalk?
We do.
So, is there a representative of the police department? I would just like to publicly encourage the police department to enforce these ordinances.
We're gonna have a police officer sitting down there.
No, I don't want that.
I mean, that's just it. The laws are on the book, but if you don't catch it in the
I
act.
understand.
I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can enforce it or not. I mean, I suppose we could.
Just, you know, that's just disrespectful in my opinion.
Man,
Yeah, council comment.
the farmers market starts this Saturday. I hope they're hearing us. Saturday, people wanna come downtown, they wanna feel safe. I hope they have the respect. It's 6 hours, whatever it is. Stay out of sight if it needs to be. Or be respectful. Because people do get are uncomfortable. And it's not, we're not just hearing it from a few, we're hearing it from quite a few.
There you go. Be respectful. Be good neighbors.
Yes.
Yes.
Just give them the respect they deserve and they'll get the respect back. And that's the way it should be.
Thank you, Bruce.
Other than that, support the farmers market.
Councilman Beer.
This is for Tom. Tom, did you ever look into the ability for the city to limit smoking in the public areas in the downtown?
To tell you the truth, no, I forgot all
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
being an issue. If you want me to see whether or not there's a way that you can restrict that, sure. I
Yeah,
will make
I'd like to
do that
maybe see
before the
if
next-
we have the authority to do something like
Next
that.
meeting. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kills you.
I have to go hide in my car like a.
Alright. Motion to adjourn.
I got one more
Oh,
thing.
one more, go
I
ahead.
just have one more thing. Just wanna let them know, on May 16th and 17th, I believe, the Heritage Association is gonna be putting up another piece of art. It's gonna go right on the wedge on Rich Moore's building, and it's gonna say, big old plaque, and it's gonna say, welcome to Hillsdale. It's an identical one that used to be up there years and years ago. And it's on panels, and they're gonna bolt the panels on so it'll be a space against the wall. So I think it's May 17th and 16th. That was nice.
So it's gonna be completed and it's just
Yeah,
gonna
the
like go
murals-
up that same day?
Yeah, it's already done. They
Oh, that's
painted
awesome.
They painted on aluminum panels, and they're gonna put the panels up
Oh, that's awesome.
those 2 days, yeah.
That's exciting. I didn't know that. I knew that there was a mural going up there, but I didn't know it was done. It just.
Yeah, it's done,
be
it's going
there.
up there, it says welcome to Hillsdale, it's a historical piece.
It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Sharp, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.
We're at